by the pork industry. The pork industry has a checkoff. There's 40 cents of every $100 of value of market pigs goes into this checkoff fund to help with education promotion of the pork industry. So the speech is, I'm representing the pork industry, and the speech is put together with that. I don't know what happened there. We might have to deal with that little thing. I don't know how to get that off.
Hit the X on it. You see that X?
Yeah, put the X on there.
With your cursor.
Can you get your arrow to hit that? You may have to use your cursor over there. Yeah, the little cursor there. Yeah.
There we go.
Hit that. Now touch it. Bang it. There you go. You got rid of that. Now you gotta get back.
There we go.
There we are.
So, in essence of time, I'll go through the slides, but I won't spend as much time on them. Today's pigs were, a lot of our focus is on raising healthy food products, and it all starts in the production systems on our farms. From everything from feeding them right, keeping them housed in clean barns, the biosecurity measures, we'll touch on that a little bit, along with veterinary oversight. It's easier to prevent a disease than treat it. And in the past 20, 30 years, our production system has changed a lot from pigs raised outside to inside, totally confined, I want to say totally environments that are totally monitored, and that makes a big difference in our antibiotic use and in treating diseases. The other thing that we've done also is sow farms will produce a set of pigs. Those set of pigs go all the way through finish until they're marketed, and they're not mixed with other pigs. Just like school kids all get together and you have all the sniffles, we have the same thing in pig industry. So if we maintain segregation of the growth, again, we raise a healthier pig and a reduction in antibiotics. So we'll kind of breeze through that. This is a picture here on the right. It's what we're used to seeing years back. Pigs outside in huts dealing with all kinds of weather. On the left is a picture of most of the pigs raised in the U.S. today. As you can see, the environmentally controlled barn, they're in very sanitized and well protected facilities. Also, in the process of that, in the 1950s, there's a picture of our pig in the 1950s, and then a picture of today's pig. In the 70s, it took about 850 pounds of feed or corn to raise a pig to market weight at 220 pounds. Today, we're doing that with 675 pounds of corn and also going to 270 pounds. So we're raising the pig bigger and a lot less corn. Again, it contributes to genetics, our health, and the environment the pigs are raised in. A little tidbit about the genetics. Like I said, I work at Orsted, and when the pigs are mated naturally, one boar would sire somewhere around 600 to 700 pigs. In an AI situation, artificial insemination, we multiply that times 10. So we're able to get the best boars, spread them over a lot more sows, and improve genetics. Going to AI was a big game changer. We also learned to feed them, these pigs, correctly, to exactly what they need, and more things on how to protect their health. We'll breeze through that. This kind of gives you an idea. The pig up here on the top left would be, he's born around 3 pounds. He's on the mama for about 3 weeks, 22 days, and he's going to weigh around 14 pounds. When he's weaned into the nursery, they're at 4 weeks age, 15 to 20 pounds. 8 weeks of age, he's going to weigh somewhere around at 40 to 60, and then marketed at 270 pounds in 6 months. Yes?
Do you do any separation of pigs, like if a very weak, straggly pig doesn't make it 4 weeks and 15 pounds, do you separate that pig out and do something else with it?
It's a great question. So the technicians in the birthing barn, we call the farrowing room, the smaller pigs born, they all get the same mama, so they're not competing with the big brothers and sisters. And then also when they're weaned, we do the same thing. We may hold them back an extra week, keep them on the sow an extra week, and give them an extra. Yeah, and then all through the growing season, growing stages, they give extra care to get them, make sure they're not competing. The whole thing with raising animals, it's competing for food and water and shelter. And so the more we can reduce that, the better they do. This kind of gives us the phases of pork production. We have a picture of a breeding barn there, the farrowing or birthing room, then the nursery, and then the finisher. And each phase, they give diets tailored to exactly what they need. There's here on the bottom picture is a picture of the controllers that monitor them barns. The fans turn on and off as the temperatures rises and lowers inside and out. Between each group of pigs and then finishing barns, in all phases, the rooms are totally washed down, taking all the organic material out, disinfected, and then reloaded. Again, another key in keeping the pigs healthy. Most of the farms will have these signs. We shower in and out about every time we go. We shower. It doesn't make sense. My wife says I'm weird. I take a shower to go see a pig. She'd prefer I take a shower to see her. But, so it's just a matter of keeping the diseases and the biosecurity part. In our farm, we actually take our temperature. If somebody has a flu, they go home. We don't want them to we want them to be healthy themselves, because the pig can get the flu from us and we can get the flu from the pig.
Really?
That is true. A variation of it. So we are, as an industry, doing a lot toward reducing our antibiotic use. We want to be able to use antibiotics to keep the pigs healthy. It's a welfare issue, but we don't want to abuse it and overuse it because of covering up mistakes. The FDA is now going through a process that every time a farmer will use antibiotics, it requires, we call an FDA, or actually a prescription from a veterinarian to allow us to use it. Which we don't all like rules and regulations, but this is a good one. Let's breeze on through here in the essence of time. I do want to touch a bit on the PQA Plus. This is a program provided by the Pork Checkoff that all of our farmers go through to certify that we know that it's a training program that our employees go through. I'm PQA certified, that we just know how to take care of animals, how to identify a sick animal, what to treat it, monitor it so that it doesn't get in the food chain until it's went through the FDA requirements, and also some site assessments and different things from environmental process. So the principal guidelines of the PQA Plus is to just make sure that we take appropriate steps for antibiotics and just follow it through so that it keeps it out of our food chain. A key point here: there's no hormones used in pork production in raising meat. Actually, it is against the law. There's no hormones. Well, no, any of the thing you buy from pork would not have hormones in it. So we'll breeze through this here fairly quick. It's over time with raising the pork in the way we have and the advancements we made in genetics. We have to cook it a little different. We used to, when I grew up, my mom would cook it until it was kind of like leather. And she wanted to make sure it had to be at 160. A lot of meat thermometers say 160. 145 is the best way to prepare pork. We done that in the past because of trichinosis. It's a little worm. We're all familiar with that, especially us older ones. The trichinosis is non-existent in the U.S. pork industry. It's not there.
You mentioned 3-minute rest. Is that on the grill or
off the heat?
Off the heat.
Yeah. So ideally was to get it up to 145, wrap it in foil, and give it a rest. That lets it finish cooking.
Brings the juices come back into meat.
It does, exactly right. It's changed some with the nutritional value for us. I saw an old ad that they were promoting this genetic line, and they said that those pigs that went to market at 220 pounds had 1.5 inches back fat. We sell them today at 270 to 80 pounds with 3/4 inch of back fat. That's the changes we've made, and it's also impacted the food we eat as well. Real brief, also in our production system, this is the changes that we've made over the 50 years. We've reduced the land use. Remember I said earlier the amount of corn it took to raise a pig? We reduced the water use, and our carbon footprint has been reduced over the 50 years, 35%. We are we're a green industry. We take the corn out of the field, feed it to the pig, take the nutrients the pig provides, put it back on the corn. So we're nature's recyclers. This kind of gives a breakdown of the gas emissions, and you see swine production is 0.4%. So we're dedicated to be responsible pig farmers. Part of the PQA is this: we take this pledge. We're producing safe, nutritious food. We're protecting the well-being of our animals. We're protecting the public health. We live and eat the same things that you do. We want to provide a safe working place, make our community a better place, all the time safeguarding the land that we live on. Again, this was provided by the Pork Checkoff, and it was a real brief, quick summary of some of the speeches that's provided. Would be more than willing, either myself or others that went through the training, to give a more detailed speech in your own organizations. Any questions?
Thank you.
My sister-in-law recently got a pig valve.
Yes.
So how does that work in with the pig farmers?
Absolutely. The heart valve, I forget how many heart valves are given that have been transplanted into people. The pig is really close in some ways to our own biological systems, including our heart. And that's something that's been used.
Insulin?
Insulin comes from pigs, from the
Yes.
pancreas. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I've known that for years.
Yeah. Yes.
Do the pigs in the barns ever get to go outside?
Most of the pigs in today's facility do not. There's curtain sides. They'll drop. They see sunshine. Again, mentioning that back when we saw the pigs out in the dirt and was concerned about our health eating pork, when they're rooting in the dirt, they're also getting parasites. The trichinosis would be cycling in the dirt. So we done it, the industry did it as a way of, for several things. We can raise them more efficient inside when they're not outside. They don't have to compete for they don't eat corn for their energy. We provide them to eat. And some of that, like the trichinosis, was not a planned thing. It just happened, just because some of the changes we made.
Do they have a lot of space? Are they pretty crowded in there?
We give them space. Yeah. One of the things, my job is I go to different farms, and if they're having challenges in production, that's one of the things I look at. How much space are you giving these pigs? Again, the more space we give them, the less competition they have for food and water. If we tighten that up, those of us that's been in it long enough can pick them signs up.
How long till they go to market? How old are they?
From birth to market is normally 6 months. And the sows are somewhere around 3 years. I mean, their life cycle is somewhere around a 3-year period. Yes.
Yes. Earlier we passed around little surveys. If you would fill those out, please, and return them to me so we can send them in. And I will say that we had Rick speak at our club a month or so ago, and it's very, very informative. He goes through a lot more slides with pictures to show, what the situation is with the pigs. So I would highly recommend his talk to any club. It's very